Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi and we're continuing to read teachings of Lord Caitanya by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Starting chapter 27, Lord Caitanya and Ramananda Raya. The author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita has described Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu as the ocean of transcendental knowledge, and Sri Ramananda Rai as the cloud which is produced from that ocean. Ramananda Raya was a greatly advanced scholar in devotional service, and by the grace of Lord Caitanya, he gathered all transcendental conclusions, just as a cloud gathers water from the ocean. As clouds appear from the ocean and then go all over the world to distribute water, which then returns to the ocean, so by the grace of Lord Caitanya, Ramananda Rai attained his higher knowledge of devotional service and again, after retiring from service, went to join Lord Caitanya in Puri. When Lord Caitanya visited the southern part of India, he first went to a great temple known as Jayada Nrisimha. This temple is situated in a place known as Simhachala, 5 miles from Visakhapatnam. The temple is situated on the top of the hill. There are many temples in that area, but the Jayada Nrisimha temple is the largest of all. This temple is filled with beautiful sculpture of interest to many students, and due to its popularity, it is a very rich temple. An inscription in the temple states that the king of Vijayanagara formerly decorated this temple with gold and even covered the body of the deity with gold plate. To facilitate attendance at the temple, there are free apartments for visitors. The temple is managed by priests of the Ramanujacharya sect. When Lord Caitanya visited this temple, he praised the deity and quoted a verse from Sridhara Swami's commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.1. Ugropyanugra evayam svabhaktanam nrikeshari keshari va svapotanam anyasham ugra vikrama. Quote, although Lord Nrisimha is very severe to demons and non-devotees, he is very kind to his submissive devotees like Prahlad. Unquote. Lord Nrisimha appeared as a half-man, half-lion incarnation of Kṛṣṇa when Prahlad, a boy devotee of the Lord, was harassed by his demoniac father, Hiranyakashipu. Just as a lion is very ferocious to other animals, but very kind and submissive to his cubs, so Lord Nrisimha appeared ferocious to Hiranyakashipu and very kind to his devotee Prahlad. After visiting the temple of Jayada Nrisimha, the Lord proceeded further into South India and ultimately reached Vidyanagara on the bank of the Godavari. While on the bank of this river, the Lord remembered the Yamuna river in Vrindavan, and he considered the trees on the bank to be the forest of Vrindavan. Thus, he was in ecstasy there. After taking a bath in the Godavari, the Lord sat near the bank and began chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. While sitting and chanting, the Lord saw that the governor of the province, Sri Ramananda Raya, had reached the banks of the river, accompanied by his associates, which included a musical band and many brahmanas. Previously, the Lord had been asked by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to visit the great devotee Ramananda Raya at Kabur. The Lord could understand that the man approaching the riverbank was Ramananda Raya, and he desired to see him immediately. But because he was in the renounced order of life, he restrained himself from going to see a person involved in political affairs. Being a great devotee, Ramananda Raya was attracted by the features of Lord Caitanya, who appeared as a sannyasi, and he himself came to see the Lord. Upon reaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Raya prostrated himself to offer his obeisances and respects. Lord Chaitanya received him by vibrating, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When Ramananda Raya presented his credentials, Lord Chaitanya embraced him, and both of them overwhelmed with ecstasy. The Brahmanas who accompanied Ramananda Raya were surprised to see them embracing in transcendental ecstasy. The Brahmanas were all stalwart followers of the rituals, and they could not understand the meaning of such devotional symptoms. Indeed, they were rather surprised to see such a great sannyasi touch a Shudra, and they were also surprised to see Ramananda Raya, who was a great governor and practically king of that province, simply crying by touching a sannyasi. Lord Chaitanya understood the Brahmana's thoughts, and considering the unfavorable situation, he pacified himself. After this, Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Raya sat down together. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has spoken very highly of you, Lord Chaitanya informed him. So, I have come to see you. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya considers me one of his devotees, Ramananda Raya replied. Therefore, he has kindly recommended that you see me. Ramananda Raya was very much appreciated by Ramananda Raya very much appreciated the Lord's touching a man of wealth. Generally, a king, governor, or any politician is always absorbed in thoughts of political affairs and pounds, shillings, pence. Therefore, such persons are avoided by sannyasis. Lord Chaitanya, however, knew Ramananda Raya to be a great devotee, and so he did not hesitate to touch and embrace him. Ramananda Raya was surprised by Lord Chaitanya's behavior, and he cited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.4, quote, "Great personalities and sages appear in the homes of worldly man just to show them mercy." Unquote. Lord Chaitanya's special treatment of Ramananda Raya indicated that although Ramananda Raya was born in a non-Brahminical family, he was far, far advanced in spiritual knowledge and activity. Therefore, he was more respectable than one who simply happens to be born in a Brahminical family. Although Ramananda, out of his meek and gentle nature, considered himself to be born in a lower Shudra family, Lord Chaitanya nonetheless considered him to be situated on the highest transcendental stage of devotion. Devotees never advertise themselves as great, but the Lord is very eager to advertise the glory of his devotees. After meeting for the first time that morning on the bank of the Godavari, Ramananda Raya and Lord Chaitanya separated with the understanding that Ramananda Raya would come in the evening to see the Lord. That evening, after the Lord had taken his bath and seated himself, Ramananda Raya came to see him with a servant. He offered his respects and sat down before the Lord. Before Ramananda Raya could speak, could even ask the Lord a question about the advancement of spiritual knowledge, the Lord said, "Please quote some verses from scripture about the ultimate goal of human life." Sri Ramananda Raya at once replied, "A person who is sincere in performing his occupational duty will gradually develop a sense of God consciousness." In this connection, he quoted a verse from the Vishnu Purana 3.8.9, which states that one worships the Supreme Lord by following the principles of one's occupational duty, and that there is no alternative for satisfying him. The purport is that human life is meant for understanding one's relationship with the Supreme Lord and acting in that relationship. Any human being can do this by dovetailing himself in the service of the Lord while just discharging his prescribed duties. For this purpose, human society is divided into 4 classes: the intellectuals, Brahmanas, the administrators, Kshatriyas, the merchants, Vaishyas, and the laborers, Shudras. For each class, there are prescribed rules and regulations, as well as occupational functions. The prescribed duties and qualities of the 4 classes are described in the Bhagavad Gita 18.41-44. A civilized society should be organized so that people follow the prescribed rules and regulations for their particular class. At the same time, for spiritual advancement, they should follow the 4 stages of ashram, namely student life, brahmacharya, householder life, grihastha, retired life, vanaprastha, and renounced life, sannyasa. Ramananda Raya stated that those who strictly follow the rules and regulations of these 8 social divisions can actually satisfy the Supreme Lord, and one who does not follow them certainly spoils his human form of life and glides down toward hell. One can peacefully achieve the goal of human life simply by following the rules and regulations which apply to oneself. The character of a particular person develops when he follows the regulative principles in accordance with his work, association, and education. The divisions of society are so designed that many people with different characteristics can be regulated under those divisions for the peaceful administration of society and for spiritual advancement as well. The social classes can be further characterized as follows. First, one whose aim is to understand the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, and who has thus devoted himself to learning the Vedas and similar literatures, is called a Brahmana. Second, a person whose occupation involves displaying force and administrating the government is called a Kshatriya. Third, one who is engaged in agriculture, herding cows, and doing business is called a Vaishya. Fourth, one who has no special knowledge but is satisfied by serving the other three classes is called a Shudra. If one faithfully discharges his prescribed duties, he is sure to advance toward perfection. Thus, regulated life is the source of perfection for everyone. One who leads a regulated life centered around devotional service to the Lord attains perfection. Otherwise, such a regulated life is simply a useless waste of time. After hearing Ramananda Raya expound upon the proper execution of a regulated life, Lord Caitanya said that such a life is simply external. Indirectly, he asked Ramananda to describe something superior to such an external exhibition. Formal execution of rituals and religion is useless unless aimed at attaining the perfection of devotional service. Lord Vishnu is not satisfied simply by ritualistic adherence to Vedic injunctions, to Vedic instructions. He is actually pleased when one attains the stage of devotional service. According to the verse cited by Ramananda Rai, one can rise to the point of devotional service by ritualistic performance. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.45-46, Sri Krishna, who appeared in order to deliver all classes of people, states, Sve sve karmanya bhirata samsiddhim labhate naraha svakarmani ratah siddhim yatha vindati tachrinu yatavah pravritir bhutanam yata pravritir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tata svakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Quote, a human being can attain the highest perfectional stage of life by worshipping the Supreme Lord, from whom everything has emanated through his occupational duties. Unquote. This perfectional process, was followed by great devotees like Bodhayana, Tanka, Dramida, Guhadeva, Kapardi, and Bharuchi. All these great personalities followed this particular path of religion, path of perfection. The Vedic injunctions also aim at this direction. Ramananda Rai wanted to present these facts before the Lord, but apparently mere discharge of ritualistic duties is not perfection. Therefore, Lord Caitanya said that it was external, indicating that if a man has a material conception of life, he cannot attain the highest perfection, even if he follows all the ritualistic regulations. I thus end chapter number 27, and tomorrow we shall begin chapter number 28, entitled Relationship with the Supreme Lord. So thank you so much for tuning in. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.